volunteer club under Girl Up and Girl Up India, a leadership initiative founded by the UN Foundation. For this very episode, we are turning our focus to an incredibly important and timely topic, the LGBTQ plus community. Today, we have the privilege of hearing the journeys and stories of two of our club members, Ketak and Nishtha, who are both a part of the community. Before we start with our discussions to heighten our awareness regarding the same, we would like our guests to introduce themselves briefly. Ketak and Nishtha, could you please tell our listeners a bit about yourselves?
Hi, I'm Ketak. I'm 17 and I'm currently in 12th grade. My pronouns are he, him. And if I talk about myself, then I like to partake in community welfare initiatives and hence I'm part of Curl Up. And I work with a few other organizations as well. And for a fun time, I like to have a good book and spend time with my friends because that is what I am the most comfortable with. And as an extrovert, that is what I derive from. So, yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Nishtha and I'm currently in 11th grade pursuing commerce. And in my free time, I like to cook, play my guitar, and probably just watch Netflix most of the times. And I've been a part of Curl Up since the past 4 months.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Let's begin our discussion with a foundational question. Can you please explain to our audience about what LGBTQ plus stands for?
Yeah, so LGBTQ plus stands for a term for every person in the community that is not heterosexual or cisgender. It is an umbrella term that covers all aspects of mostly all people's sexuality, in which L stands for lesbian, G stands for gay, B stands for bisexual, T stands for transgender, and Q stands for queer. And it is plus because there are other terms as well that are part of this lingo that obviously we cannot say at once. It's like same as the digits of a pi. We cannot speak all the digits at once. And a fun fact about the terminology is that the Q term, queer, it stands and it was originally used as a mockery term by a lot of people in the 20th century, but later it was reclaimed by members of the community as a term for everyone in the community. So regardless of what your sexuality is, or even if you don't want to put a label on yourself or figure yourself out, then you can always use the term queer as being part of the community to feel safe and to feel belong.
Thank you so much for breaking down the terminology for us. When did you guys first realize your sexual orientation?
So for me, I realized my sexual orientation when I was originally in eighth grade. And I mean, it was something that I already felt before because I never really had an attraction towards the opposite gender. I always had an attraction towards the same gender. And at a certain point of time, when I was influenced by media and I saw a lot of people like me out there, I felt like that was home and that was something that was me. And then so I decided to come out and like it is originally there was a lot of resistance from within also because it was something very new to me and I did not have much support. But when I came out, I had luckily a lot of supportive environment to grow and foster. And yeah, still grateful to that day.
I first realized it when I was 14, but like I always had an intuition that I might turn out to be queer. So yeah, when I was 14, it was for a specific person that I realized that I was queer. So.
Hmm, right. So, speaking about your experience with, coming out to your friends and family, how exactly was it? How was their reaction? And if you've not yet come out, do you plan to do so in the near future?
I came out to my family and friends about a year ago, and my friends were actually very supportive of it. But my family was not. They're not handled it well, being from a conservative background. So that was pretty hard on me and for them as well.
I came out to my friends and family like 3 years ago, and it was approximately in the same timeline. Like, I first came out to my best friend, and later I came out to my brother, and then I told my mother. And initially, obviously, they were resistant about it because, again, the same point being part of an Indian family, the conservativeness does come around. But then again, your parents also do come around because you're their child, and it took them time, but now they're more accepting, and it's a great environment for me as well because my friends were always there for me, so I never felt alone in that way. It was always hard to be myself in my own house. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Experiences, speaking of them, they're always unique to the context. But then, after coming out amidst a lack of acceptance or understanding, how can LGBTQ plus individuals in general manage their relationships with family members?
Uh, in my opinion, I feel like any relationship, be it family or be it friends, it's built on communication. And so LGBTQ individuals should definitely interact with their parents and help them understand what this sexuality actually is, because obviously the information that they will themselves get from the media or their own sources won't be as correct as what you feel about yourself. So as much as you communicate, the more you're able to manage and have a healthy relationship with your family. I mean, at least that's what I feel, and that's what I've heard and experienced myself. So yeah.
So I think the first thing a person should do is get their families accustomed to the idea of them being a part of the community, because even now, living in an Indian household, people are unaware of what it means exactly. So first, it's important to clear that out, and then slowly get them accustomed to it and come out.
Thank you so much for your take. As a member of the LGBTQ plus community, what would you say are some common misconceptions that people have or may have about your identity?
A most common misconception which I have heard सबसे ज़्यादा is, like, especially being in India, is that it is about a lust thing and not really a love thing that obviously everyone in the community says it for, which it is. It is about love. It's not really about lust, but it is categorized as lust because when people hear the term sexuality, there's obviously a lot of stigma around it. And wherever the term sexual comes in, people just try to dissociate from it and even tend to take away their children from it because they think they'll reach or have a bad influence on them. But I feel like that is obviously not true. Love is about obviously way more than lust, and it's about feelings and feelings of self actualization more than loving the other person. I feel like that is a common misconception and why there is a lot of stigma around the term and the whole community, because it is categorized as something that it is really not, and obviously categorized as something as immoral. As we have even seen earlier, it wasn't even legal in India. It is only now that there are better laws and better provisions, and hopefully more safety that we would get in the future. So yeah.
Have you ever experienced homophobia? And if so, how did you come about handling it?
For me, I have experienced homophobia, and especially being gay, like, it obviously came naturally, because if a person sees, obviously, even if, especially guys, if they see a guy different from them, even if they aren't gay or any sexuality, they just tend to target them because obviously, be it of their own insecurities or anything else, people do not like different people. And hence I did encounter homophobia like originally in ninth grade, but I was able to deal with it because I had great support from my teachers, and even my friends were so supportive and protective of me. So that homophobia part initially stopped because I stopped it. But obviously, there are a lot of teens and there's a lot of stories that we all get to hear. Well, some teens are not able to stop it. So I feel like in that scenario, you should always reach out for help. And your teachers are going to be your best bet, be it your tuition teachers, any kind of elder that you can trust would be your best bet, be it them being supportive or not. If they care about you enough, they would care about you to protect you in this scenario and guide you in the right way.
But then a lot of teachers also have the same conservative mindset, and they might judge you or might show their biased, approach
Yeah,
in their actions. How would you come about with dealing with that?
definitely. Obviously, teachers would be conservative, but then again, if you are asking for help, you do not really have to come out. You can just simply address it as you feel unsafe. And obviously, a child's safety is more important to a teacher than asking them about their sexuality or anything, right? And safety can be hindered by any person. So, yeah. It is just how you approach the situation, not that you have to fully come out, because obviously not everyone is comfortable with that. But even if you just ask for help, obviously people would be there to help you out.
What about you, Nishtha?
So I haven't experienced any homophobia yet, but even if I do in the future, I think my approach would be to just stay away from it and ignore it as much as possible. And if it gets severe, then I'll go to my friends, take their help, and probably my family as well if they're supportive of it.
The strength you guys wield is immensely inspiring. Support की बात करें तो how has your journey within the LGBTQ plus community been?
So for me, my journey has been great up till now. I've made so many queer friends for whom I'm so grateful for. And honestly, it has just been a good and learning experience. It has been a comforting place, especially through social media, where I could connect to so many queer people around the world, not just in the place that I live in. And even any people I believe that you meet, if they are the right kind of influence, they create a fostering and caring environment for you. And that has been the case for me up till now. So I feel my experience has been great.
I haven't really met a lot of individuals who belong to the community, but the ones I've met have been amazing, and I definitely look forward to doing so in the future.
Now, how would you suggest people to react when a close one comes out to them? कि एक बैलेंस्ड कंसिडरेट रिस्पॉन्स कैसा होना चाहिए आपके अनुसार?
I feel like a balanced and considerate response should be that if anyone comes out to you, you should definitely be sensitive to the situation, despite of your own personal beliefs and whatever your beliefs interfere with. Like you should try to just create a like healthy environment for them, even if you aren't comfortable with it. You should just try to tell anyone that comes out to you that it's okay and I'm here for you, because at least if someone is coming out to you, they're trusting you with like on another level, right? So I think it's the bare minimum to provide them with the same level of comfort, at least, if not more support, like at least the minimum support for them to not feel insecure about their own self. So I feel like that should be the most considerate and bare minimum way of response. They just provide a comforting space to them, and later you can also learn to know about their sexuality if you have your personal interference, or you can learn about it themselves to create a more supporting environment in the future.
Right, I agree. Being supportive can make or break the confidence a person has in his newfound identity, ultimately themselves. So, that is some great advice. What are some effective ways people can advocate for the LGBTQ plus community, especially in environments where there's a lot of stigma and a lack of events or initiatives?
I personally feel that advocating for the community could be in several ways. Like, for example, the most important way is raising awareness. And raising awareness does not necessarily means that you have to make on-ground protests. You can obviously use the power of social media, as there is a lot of awareness on social media platforms these days. And there are several community centers also, like some I have seen even based in Delhi NCR. So I feel like that is a great way to advocate for communities' welfare. And I feel like initiatives like this should come across more often to create a more safe space for millions of people part of the community to feel safe around the globe. So, yeah.
Yes, we should also be creating our own opportunities. Right. ऐसे कौन कौन से LGBTQ प्लस पब्लिक फिगर्स हैं जैसे सिंगर्स, एक्टर्स, राइटर्स हो गए जिन्हें आप एडमायर करते हैं एंड उनके काम ने आपको कैसे इंस्पायर किया है इन पर्टिकुलर?
Okay, so there's this very particular influencer that I follow. Her name is Trinetra, and they are a trans individual. Like they've transitioned from a boy to a girl now, and I've been watching their content for the past 3 4 years, and it is inspiring to me because they're a med student, and being a med student and also being a trans person is obviously not the most conventional notion of what we know of medical students. and also they're an influencer. They have appeared in a lot of Netflix or YouTube series and various other platforms, and it's so inspiring to see them being so confident in their sexuality and promoting that through their Instagram also. And it's not like, how some influencers we see their content is very community specific, but Trinetra's content is like general content that we see in normal influencers feed. So how there's a thing ki if a person posts a particular content, people don't usually follow them, but their content is so non-conventional and so normative, like how we see normal memes, that it is easy to follow them, easy to follow them along. Like it is like aisa ki you are being sensitized while not even trying. Like obviously if we see in several movies are there which do not really force the idea of the community on you, but in a way non-disguised you're learning from it, and that is why I just love their content. That is why I particularly love what they create. And obviously there are other influencers also, but I am just very Trinetra biased because it is something that speaks the most to me and feels the most comforting to me.
Thank you so much for your answer. With this, we would like to come to the next question, which is also the last question of this podcast. And I would like to ask you guys about the changes you would like to see in the future for the LGBTQ plus community.
The Indian government still does not recognize same sex marriages. So I believe that's one development that needs to be made as soon as possible in the constitution.
Right, that is definitely a point that I agree with, and also that there are a lot of helplines for obviously females and other individuals, but not for LGBTQIA individuals. And I believe that should also be there because crimes against us are also committed and they are very overlooked for, even in comparison to women, which I get. Both types of crimes are equally heinous and equally important, but if there is a helpline for them, then it should be for us also, because we also deserve the same amount of safety and care that any other citizen in India deserves.
Thank you so much for sharing, guys. All your answers must have definitely cleared the essence of what the community holds, which may help some viewers gain the momentum that they need to come to terms with their own related struggles. We are very, very grateful for your willingness as well as your frankness, your candidness with regards to your responses. We hope this discussion must have encouraged our viewers to put themselves in the community's shoes and incorporate yet another perspective that helps them to be supportive allies, understand and empathize with the same better. Until next time, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.